Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. So my name is Radek Ratusznik. I am game director of Ghostrunner.
Relax. Your implants are still adjusting to the software. I'm in a prison.
Oh, so everything is muted except you, I believe.
It'll have to suffice for now.
A trespasser spotted at Metro Station.
This is bad. You'll have to fight your way out of here. The air ducts lead to another sector. God, your software is a mess. I've rebooted your accelerator.
Hi there.
I've rebooted your acceleration module. You should be able to squeeze through that turbine. You can use acceleration while in the air.
The trespasser is in the air duct.
Yeah, sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Guys, can you hear me?
They'll be waiting for you.
Or not? I'm talking.
Initiating the sensory boost. Focus. Don't stay focused.
Oh, I see. I was still muted because I'm still getting used to my new
But you
setup.
won't last long.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna restart the. That was all me. That was all user error. Okay.
Outside this dome zone.
Hi everyone. Back to the start of the demo. Let's pretend that didn't happen. My name is Brian Francis. I work at GDC and a little website called Gamma Sutra. Let's do the introduction again. Radek, take us from the top. How are you doing?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Radek Ratusznik. I am game director of Ghostrunner. And together with me, we've got a couple of developers.
I'm Damian, and I work as a 3D lead artist at One More Level.
Hello, my name is Marcin, and I am lead level designer at One More Level.
Hello there, my name is Jan, and I'm the narrative designer and writer for Ghostrunner.
Looks like we have a pretty active chat today. Chat, I can see your stuff. I did turn down the audio levels for you for the game. We're going to be taking your questions and asking them for the folks in Ghostrunner. No, we are not doing speed tech. You are about to watch someone who was playing the game for the first time is going to die about precisely 17 times. I know that number because it shows up at the end of the demo. But yeah, if you have any questions, we're happy to pass them on to the team, and we're here to talk about the making of Ghostrunner, which comes out very soon. All right, Radek, what are we looking at here? Like, why did you and your team want to make Ghostrunner, and how did this game sort of get started?
Sure. So, obviously, we are looking at you dying a lot of times.
Oh yeah, get ready for that.
Besides that, yeah. So our previous title called Ghostrunner, it was a game which we developed in Unity, and it was a top-down action co-op game, heavily inspired by Hotline Miami. So it was also one hit, one kill. That mechanic, which is also here, like in Ghostrunner. This is like the core mechanic of our game. So we decided to push to a little bit to something new, that we wanted to take this one hit one kill mechanic and deliver the game which will be kind of different. So we put it to another perspective, to the first person perspective, which is something new for us because we haven't done any first person game before. We've also switched to the Unreal Engine 4, which was also totally new for us, but because it was the first game for many of us on this engine. We are lucky that Damian, our lead 3D artist who is today with us, he's amazing in Unreal, and that was also our main decision, that we wanted to push that visuals to the next level, to one more level, let's say. But yeah, so what we wanted to do is to bring the new quality to that to our team, that we wanted to have like a very nice looking game with this kind of indie creative vision that we are, it's not like a AAA game in terms of gameplay, in terms of what you are doing actually in the game. We are free to do what we wanted to do. We wanted to, make that one kill mechanic something. Add something unique to that mechanic. So I think that was our main goal. I think at least at the very beginning. But at the very beginning, it was just let's make first-person game on Unreal Engine in a cyberpunk theme. So that was our premise, let's say, at the very beginning.
Yeah, right on. We can talk more about Ghostrunner's like cyberpunk vibe and world in a bit. Damien, I want to spin to you as a level designer. Something I said before this meeting started, and you're seeing me horribly like reflected. What I think is interesting about one hit, one kill is it means that even combat, there's actually not, I wouldn't say there's combat in this game, there's just platforming. And every one that you kill is just sort of like, they're just a little platform that you have to reach in order to achieve your goal. They just happen to be positioned a certain way, and they're trying to kill you. What was your like experience making levels for this game? Because I've played a little bit more of it. I won't be able to discuss much more of what I played, but I wanted to hear from you. Like, what was your experience making levels where, you know, like I said, where it fits the platforming and where enemies are positioned in such a way that they guide players through these pretty high velocity situations without losing track of the situation. As you will see me lose track of the situation, but that's not your fault. That's mine.
Yes, that's the. Sorry, that's the question for Marcin.
Marcin, I'm so sorry, Damien. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Actually, the topic is connected. Actually, Damien can elaborate on the visual side and guiding the player more on that side. But designing the levels, yeah. So as Radek said, our previous game was Ghostrunner and also was one kill. So as a designers, we had plenty of experience designing that kind of game. To be fair, to guide the player in the right way. So actually, to the details, maybe we made sure that everything that is interest to the player, like where to go and what to do, is like mostly in front of you. You don't have to look around that much, and you make split-second, moment decisions, seeing those things. Like you see the next enemy, you see the next highlighted platforms, like highlighted here in yellow, as you can see. Like this is one of the main colors that's guide. The wall runs are yellow. And how much time passes before the enemy shoots, it's indicated by the particle. So maybe Damien could elaborate on that also. When thinking about the space, I was thinking, and every designer I think was thinking about the movement. Like this is one jump, this is one slide, this is one dodge. Thinking about what's the moveset to pass through this space. It's like this specific space requires this and this. So instinctively we connect those spaces with the tutorials, so we don't stop the player too much. Everything is, I think, fluid in that regard. Yeah, and basically also taking inspirations from other games like Doom, Titanfall, Mirror's Edge, all the good stuff that works, and mixing it in with the things we know. Yeah, so basically that's the gist of it.
Yeah, this space is interesting that I'm running through right now. As you can see in this footage, this has a lot of. This is where the game starts to open up and like give players more choices. There's like, as you can see, the curved wall I'm about to run on. Like you said, players are pretty have some tunnel vision in this game that keeps them pushing forward. How do you still help them move? They're essentially doing this in a bunch of cubes. Maybe they're long rectangles. But sort of how do you help players get that comfortable with that motion?
As I said, we place in the vision of the player the points of interest. So you see the yellow signs. You see the highlighted spaces. And here you can see the grapples. You look for the next grapple. You look for the next enemy. You hear the sounds. And it's just it's a lot of testing too. Actually, it's not just that you think it through and make a level and that's it. Actually, this particular level we were making many iterations before you were playing what we see here.
Yeah, a lot of iterations.
A lot of iterations, actually. It's like I lost count actually. So getting a lot of playtests, listening to feedback and looking at the players, what they actually do and where they look. So as you can see, I know that they are not lost and do what's supposed to be done here and go where they are supposed to go. And to be fair, in the game, so it's not vanishing for you when you die. You place a lot of checkpoints. That comes from the experience from making previous game. A lot of checkpoints between obstacles, in between combat spaces, makes you not regret dying. Dying is a part of the main loop of the game. So you learn the enemy placement. If you don't see them, you know, there's a guy. Okay, next time I know he's there. If you didn't see him the first time. If the level is more open, we tend to use objective markers, as you saw the previous arena. You know, so that's extra help for guiding the player.
That's like the easy way to go.
That's the cheap way out, but mostly to funnel in the most important information. Without,
but you know, also you know, it's important that we have those instant restarts, which is like you can immediately come back to the action right after dying. So we are not breaking the loop. It's like the part of the loop, as mentioned, as Marcin mentioned before, that you are dying, but we are not punishing the player. It's like a part of the learning how to play this game, and you are getting better and better. So that was our design for this. That it's the same as we did on Ghostrunner. It's inspired by Hotline Miami, of course. This is, you know, you are with this tension. We are not breaking the music, for example, in the background. It's playing constantly. So you feel that it's like sometimes you can, if you are fast enough, you can just press R for restart without even seeing this death screen, for example. So yeah.
Right on. Before I would love to ping Damien and Jan for some questions, but I do want to get a question from chat. Well, everyone here in chat is praising Kevin. I don't know who Kevin is. I haven't met Kevin yet. Luchaland GD would like to ask, what were some of the challenges creating the game? And I'd like to invite each of you to share one specific challenge you remember that you would like to talk about with folks. So, like, that represent each of your fields.
So I can start, I think. So for me, as I'm also leading the whole team of One More Level, it was the process of, you know, switching to the new engine. That was easier than I thought, but it was hard. It was like not everyone were, you know, sure that it's the right move, that maybe we should make another game in Unity, maybe we shouldn't jump to Unreal Engine 4 right away. But it was a good decision for us because it really works well for us. So that was a hard decision, but we had to make it.
Who's next? Damien, what was your biggest challenge?
I guess the whole game is something new for us. It's totally different from our previous title. It's a totally new perspective, totally new art style, totally different set of the tools that everyone at the team needed to learn, obviously. We are a fairly small team, and the game, for that kind of a small team, is very ambitious, and there is plenty of locations and interesting environments. Also different different sets of assets for different areas, right? So it was very challenging for us to kind of get through the design process and the process of creation of all the art assets, all the set dressing. Like I said, we are a very small team, but I guess we did pretty good on that front, and even to this day we still tweaking stuff. Obviously, like Marcin said, we put a lot of, as a team, a lot of work to make sure the game plays well, and this is definitely gameplay first title. So all the visuals serve to improve the gameplay, to make all the action very well readable, so you never get stuck in the levels. So this is definitely a challenge. You have to consider all the lighting in a scene, all the assets you place around the path of the player, and we still also, this is not my part, but we, as a team of people focusing on the visuals, we still want to add to the story. So this is also our challenge in this kind of a game, where you definitely don't want to stop the player.
Marcin, let's throw to you. What was one of your biggest challenges?
So I will totally agree with the previous points that guys said. And I can elaborate on this, actually, the story part a bit, because when designing the levels, we were keeping in mind what was the dialogue there, so the pacing, as we talked before the stream actually a bit with you, is fluid. So there's combat, time for combat, there's time for parkour, there's time for exposition, so you have you can breathe. It's not just frantic action all the time, and making the game fair, and as we were talking, fluid where to go, so it's easy and fun to play where it has to be, and challenging where it has to be, not the way. And well, that was maybe the hard part, maybe to my field more specifics, like designing maybe boss fights, was a bit challenging, because one hit mechanic makes it a bit challenging to design one, but I think they turned out pretty well. That's one thing. Maybe the other thing would be to to make the game as fun as possible, as cool as possible, and keeping everything fresh, because as you play the game, something will pop up. So that was the challenge, to make it all come together as maybe.
Right on.
Yeah, and also upgrading system, that was something which we have, like, how can you upgrade your character when you got only 1 health point? That was also some kind of design challenge for our gameplay designers. So, yeah.
Oh man,
maybe if I can add, I could, because there are no programmers with us, I could say that making the game snappy, as Radek said, like the respawn is instant. Kudos to them for making it like fluid, and what you can see is like the effect of the hard work of the whole team.
Yeah. Right on. I want to give Jan a chance to weigh in. Jan, obviously, we haven't even gotten to talk about that Ghostrunner. Takes place in a pretty neat world. You got this tower that's like the last bastion of humanity. What was your sort of... we're in a very narrative set piece right now, actually. So what was your biggest challenge? Right. Yeah, what was your...
Well, basically, Damian already named my biggest challenge, because the game is very much about gameplay first. So how do you implement a story into the game that's all about staying in motion and rushing ahead? So... in a way, there's a limited amount of tools you can use to deliver a story in games such as this, because there's no really time to stand around, to listen to people talk, to read things. Basically, you want to focus on delivering a story that's, engaging in a way that will grip you even during a fight, during traversing the levels. So Marcin mentioned the pacing, that there is some place for the fighting, some place for platforming, some place for delivery of the exposition. And I think it came together really well, if I do say so myself, and I definitely can praise Marcin and other level designers for delivering the great pacing. But for me, it was, the overall shape of the story, for it to stand on its own legs and to be able to be delivered in this fashion during the running, basically, because most of the interactions you have with the characters is not face-to-face. Basically, they are just voices in your head. So also writing the dialogue in a way that it's engaging and it's it delivers the exposition in a way that feels natural, and it feels fun and complements the action instead of getting in the way of the action. I think that's the best way to put it. How to make the story, stand on its own merit, but complement the action instead of getting in the way.
Guys, I just want to say, by the way, chat is incredibly hyped for this game. Whenever we get to, have a games community in the chat, it's always fun and exciting, when folks who love the game pop in. But these folks who are watching with us today are just talking about how excited they are when it comes out. And they're actually also talking about speedrunning, which is a really fun conversation we can move to, which kind of affects all of your work. Speedrunning is a different kind of way to play a game. It's it's about efficiency, it's about skips, it's about runs and percentages. I'm curious what your experience was like prepping this game and sort of going, oh hey, like this might appeal to the speedrunning community, but we don't want to make them the only people who can play our game. Like, do you have any thoughts about building games that are popular with that crowd?
So it was like we knew that this game had potential for speedrunners, just like our previous one, Ghostrunner. There were also there was also some potential in terms of speedrunning. Whereas Ghostrunner, when we first showed it up on last Gamescom last year, it was Gamescom 2019. That was the place where we showed the game for the first time, and there were a few guys who were just over all the time. They were just coming by and playing the levels, and they were starting to putting their own phones and recording their times and stuff like that. And when we were looking at them, when they were playing like 5 or 6 times in a row through the game, and we saw that, oh my god, they are starting to be better players than we are of our own game.
Oh, that's so cool.
That was the moment when we knew, oh my god, this is the potential for this game. And after releasing the demo on Steam, where the community of speedrunners showed up and they really enjoyed the game, they gave us very valuable feedback. We knew that this is something we should work with, because they found their own tactics on how to move our character, and we didn't want to remove it from the game or fix it, because they really enjoyed it. And at the same time, we were trying to use their own techniques when we were playing, when we were testing the game, and at the same time we were really enjoying it too. So that was a new way of playing the game. Right now we are also pretty good at speedrunning this game too.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Damien and Marchand. Okay, so real quick, guys. So the demo, we're just going to look at the menu here for a couple seconds. It's a beautiful menu. And then you know what? We're having a good conversation. I'm going to run the demo back to the start. Folks like Cube Zero and Chat are asking who plays a demo 5 or 6 times in a row. Guess what? It's going to be us today. Except I'm not playing it. This is pre-recorded footage because it's really hard to play games and talk to people at the same time. Damien and Marchand, after experiencing that, watching people speedrun just your demo, oh my god, Meta Live says they're sitting here with 70 hours in the demo. So I hope y'all are excited about that. But yeah, what's your experience like? Okay, now this is sort of how some people might play your game, and it's a very high level, very different from the average play. How did that impact your work as you got ready to finish this game?
So maybe I'll start. So yeah, definitely there was a lot of unexpected ways to complete the game, at least demo, that I noticed when watching people playing the game. So it definitely changed the way we're thinking about set dressing the levels, how we approach thinking about the paths the player may take. We definitely try to waterproof the level, so the player cannot, or can, but it's more in a designed way, go through different route, for example. So we obviously pay more attention to details like that. I'm not really sure it affected the way we construct the visuals. I guess when someone tries to get the best time on a particular level, they're not really interested about the visuals when they replay the level for 100 times. But we still try to make the game appealing to every player, so you don't have to worry about that if you're not speedrunning. But I'm sure that there's not much that will get in your way if you try to get the best score. Like we said before, this is gameplay first game, so you don't find constant stuff that constantly block you. So yeah, I would say it's a very speedrun friendly game, definitely.
Yeah, we're trying to fix some out of bounds.
Yeah.
But not something on the main road. But we won't manage to to close it all. It's impossible.
People always find a way.
so maybe I can elaborate more about that. As Radek said, we were in contact with speedrunning community actually, and yeah, when we were designing the levels, we were thinking about ways you can play them faster. You know, it's not just about being a speedrunner. It's just about you can figure out a bit of shortcuts. You know, it's not like a major shortcut, but you can do this. And yeah, we were thinking about it. And also, as Damian said, this is a game not only for speedrunners. You know, if you are not running around, doing out of band stuff, I think you will enjoy it too. And yeah, we were very surprised and very happy about the result. The demo gave us plenty of feedback, also plenty of things to think about. Yeah. So yeah, we were thinking about making the levels appealing to many people actually, not just speedrunners.
Yeah, Martin, before we get off speedrunning, and also, by the way, I now understand who Kevin is, so watching chat say hi, Kevin. I get it now. I saw him, and I in my head, I said, hi, Kevin. I just had to let you finish your thought. So what is a skip that you obviously want to patch out, and what is a skip that you think, oh, we should let that stay in? There's actually a little skip that I developed for myself. You'll see it later on now that we're running back through the footage again. Where there's a point where you're supposed to grapple, and I just accidentally kept dashing through this spot. But I'm curious, like, what's a skip? So what's a skip that you need? You go, okay, that's good, that's high skill, and what's a skip where you go, that's not fun, we need to get that out, or it's going to, like, we don't consider that something we want in the game.
Yeah, that's a very good question. It depends on the situation actually. There are plenty of out of band situations or missing collisions, stuff like that. It's like, it depends on the situation. Mostly you fix that, but you don't have to like patch every hole. The main thing is to keep the game fun. If you are having fun and you are not breaking it, like going crazy, making bugs, we don't want to stop the player, as Jan said, and the guys. There are not plenty of cutscenes here, so it depends on the situation actually.
Yeah, it's like more like when someone is trying to break the collision, like where we have like a wall and the floor, and let's say that they are pushing into the collision and doing that, they are out of bounds. So this is something what we are fixing. But for example, when we have like a normal gameplay situation, but you can, for example, skip some enemies or when you don't have to use, for example, that grapple, but because you can jump using the ledge boost jumping. You can jump on a really big distances. This is something which we are not patching. So you are able to do it using all that speedrunners techniques. You are able to move pretty fast, and you don't have to use like all the walls, for example, which are indicated to use. You can skip some gaps, some walls, etc. So this is what we are leaving as it is.
Chat would like to know if you guys are getting rid of the triangle skip.
Each guard has a built-in lockdown.
I don't know what that is, unfortunately, because as you're seeing, I am not a speedrunner. I am not good at video games. I'm okay at Apex Legends, but yeah, whatever triangle skip is, they would like to. They're concerned it's going to get patched out.
All tenants are to remain in
oh, they're saying it's
I don't know. Is there any explanation?
They're saying it's clipping,
what is
clipping into the elevator.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, we wish to fix it, to be honest.
Yeah, actually, it's not that simple.
Yeah, because so maybe not for the release.
Yeah,
but we will see. Gotcha.
The out of band situation into the elevator. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, we saw it like 17 seconds or 16 seconds in the first level.
It's so easy to fix, actually. Yeah.
Not so fun. Not so fun.
Well, hey, maybe it just gets too hard, Maybe it just gets put off for another day. Chad's got some great fun. I'm so it's so much fun to see players just get so excited about something. It's like something from a small team that's not out yet. It's like Ubisoft. Big companies, your Ubisofts, your Activisions. They can spend thousands of dollars on marketing, and these guys, this chat is full of people who I'm just like, oh wow, y'all have played this demo for hours, and it's like their enthusiasm is infectious. But so as much as I want to answer other questions from chat, I do need to get through some dev-focused questions because, like I said, we're kind of a dev-focused channel. Though they do want to know about merch, so I'm going to suggest that for any questions about merch, you take that for if you guys have a Discord, for social media. I suggest that question be answered there. For my Damien, I want to talk about a 3D art thing. So I was shocked by I am only running an i5 processor on a GT970, which is not a powerhouse machine. I'm going to do an upgrade soon. But I got this game demo running, and you saw me foots with the settings at the beginning, and I went, oh, this is running great. Like, the footage we have is really smooth. It's thankfully, like, my CPU is even handling like all the stuff we're doing right now. Okay, and it's been giving me some trouble on other stuff lately. What when you're making art like this, I know one challenge is for these vibrant, beautiful 3D settings is making sure that they can still making environment assets that also don't especially when speed is involved, especially when the frame rate is something to be managed. Like, what was your practice as this game's 3D artist for a first-person high-speed game to make sure that like stuff could be beautiful but also not be a memory hog, or not be a hog on resources and not be too expensive, so that players can play this game on cheaper machines?
There's no simple answer to that question, but there are a couple maybe main parts, main areas where we focus. Mm-hmm. So obviously, texture density and the amount of texture we put into the game, mm-hmm. the amount of triangles, and I guess overall level complexity. Also, the lighting is very important. Mm-hmm. So we use Unreal, which is using kind of a mixed way of lighting stuff. So it's not all real-time lighting. Mm-hmm. Some lights that are not that important are baked, and it's pretty cool because with that you can get like a very nice looking global illumination, mm-hmm. which is very cheap for your hardware. Basically, you're baking out light maps, and it's all stored like a static texture. Mm-hmm. So that's something that really well optimizing is optimizing the lighting. We make sure that we don't go overboard with level geometry. However, modern hardware can handle a lot of that stuff, and we have really complex scenes in the editor. We kind of made like basic guidelines, how many draw calls and how many triangles we want to put in a scene. Some scenes are more demanding on your hardware, definitely. Mm-hmm. But we test the game on the wide array of the target hardware, and we try to get the best possible results with that. We also optimize the game for the consoles, so that's give us a lot of performance stats and profiling, obviously. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of stuff that our programmers constantly working on when it comes to the optimizing AI, optimizing a lot of in-engine tick times and stuff like that, and more complex stuff that I don't really understand. So we play the game all the time. We have a lot of performance stats. We have a lot of feedback from the players that play the game. Mm-hmm. Thanks to that, we can really put a lot of work into optimization and making sure the game runs the best as we can. It's also very important due to the fact we also support ray tracing. Mm-hmm. So with ray tracing, when you turn it on, it's additional cost for your hardware, so you want the base game to run as well as possible before adding that additional performance hit. So that's another reason that we put a lot of hard work into optimizing the game. We don't have maybe I will go back to the art asset optimization mm-hmm. part. We give people a lot of freedom. This is also the reason why we were able to create this amount of level art and art assets in such a short time, as we have very experienced people working. Basically, we made already a Ghostrunner together, so we kind of a small team and can communicate very fast. So if there's something wrong in the game, we can directly communicate, and basically in the matter of hours we can fix stuff. So there's not much overhead in communications. So yeah, I guess that's the reason. That's the reason as well.
Right on. Jan, I'm gonna pivot to you because I have a question. I've played a little bit more of this game, so I've gotten to see where some of the narrative goes. And like I was about to tell you before the call, there's things that hooked me as a story lover in games already. I have this thing. There's just these games that come along every few years. They're like these really great first person like motion games. God, I'm forgetting the name of the other one I have, but it's on Steam. And it was one of the first games we streamed on this channel. I'm like, wow, these games like actually like do a lot to hook me in and pull me in. But one of the challenges I do find in this genre is obviously, like we discussed before, like the game, it's gameplay. When you're gameplay first, 1 HP, like there's not much opportunity to stop, sit and stare and ingest story, though we're going to see a narrative sequence that happens later again, and we've already seen it earlier in the stream. My experience was I was impressed by how like some pretty impactful dialogue was coming through later on. And it was timed well enough that it's still like I got through, you know, I was rushing through a section of a level pretty competently, and the dialogue didn't rush past, like I didn't rush past the dialogue, it didn't get cut off. So I'm curious what some of like how you can still, what are your thoughts on getting character and getting important story bits through without sacrificing, you know, or in those short amounts of time? Like what are your thoughts as a narrative designer about accomplishing that?
Well, basically that's the main challenge, and you have to play and replay the level over and over, and tweak and cut stuff out and move stuff around and shuffle it until you're pretty confident that it works. Mm-hmm. And when it works, you can feel it, and I think well, it also has to do with the pacing that Martin mentioned, because if you don't have any moments that you're able to say for 100% that, all right, I do have some time here to tell something important that won't be missed by the player, it's important to have points like that. So, for example, what we're seeing right now is the Cyber Void section, and in there's less stuff happening. You're not in immediate danger, so it's a pretty safe bet to assume that the player will be able to concentrate on the dialogue more. And that's how we use it many times throughout the game. As a sort of section that is able to deliver exposition and deliver the story in a more safe manner, you know, because it's depending on how fast you're going and depending on how much attention you're paying, it's easy to you know, just skip or overlook some finer points of the plot. And those sections that are without any fighting, they are a platform that we use to deliver the story in a more laid-back manner. But as I said, it's all about going back in there and tweaking it and seeing if it works and reworking it and well, coming up with a sequence of dialogue and putting everything in a place that guarantees you, or at least gives you the best possible chance of working.
Yeah. Radek and Jan, this is kind of a two-parter for you as a kind of like vision for the, you know, like what you know, you've made a world for your game, you've made characters, like we were finding out here about the relationships between some of them. What's kind of your interest? Like why go for Cyberpunk? What kind of characters were you hoping to explore with this? Like sort of what, you know, you've made a really cool, like again, great mechanics, great levels, like there's a lot of cool stuff happening there, but what kind of excited you? Like why even tack on a story at all? And which is to say, like what kind of story were you interested in telling, and what were you all really passionate about in this space? Because I could also see this game succeeding as just kind of an arcadey experience with a good like visual, but instead you've, you know, layered on some pretty functional narrative stuff, and I'm curious what we were passionate about on that front.
Why can't this place be?
Yeah, so for the, let's say, Cyberpunk world, I think the reason that we decided to do it was just because we are huge fans of that Cyberpunk genre, let's say that renaissance which is going on right now, that we have a CDPR game, Cyberpunk 2077. We had a new Blade Runner movie. That was something that we wanted to be a part of it, to be honest. Just by being gamers and fans of this genre, this is why we wanted to make a game in this setting. But the other thing is that it really corresponds well with the gameplay which we had. That we had this kind of cyborg ninja character who can run through walls, who can dodge the bullets, slow down time, let's say, by because he's so agile, he's so fast that he can dodge the bullet or deflect the bullet. So that was the first reason. And in terms of building the world, why we even add a narration to this game, because we wanted to be for Ghostrunner, it's supposed to be like something more than just arcade game. We wanted it to be something like not a AAA experience, but that kind of indie premium experience that you can also enjoy the visuals, that there you can also enjoy the story of this game. So it's not like that it's not an important part of this game. It's like it's also an important part, but of course our premise is gameplay first. So it's like it's served to the gameplay. That's what I think Jan mentioned before. Yeah. Jan, you can also add anything about the world itself, because it's also pretty interesting what we have here. It's not something like a usual, like a generic cyberpunk stuff.
Oh yeah, if I might add something, I'd say that I'm pretty sure that we came up with a very particular kind of cyberpunk because of the setting. The Dharma Tower is, when you place the entirety of the game inside one mega structure, you already are drawing a pretty powerful picture. This is a mega structure. This is one very particular place. It's got its history. It's not somewhere in the world. It's this place, and this place has history, and it came from some beginnings, and already the story begins to write itself, really, when you come up with the visuals, when you build this world, the questions ask themselves, and then you try to explore them, and you learn more and more about this world, and it begins to unfold in a way. So I wasn't with the project from day one, so I can't really speak for the first decisions being made, but I was very happy to be able to join the project. And for me it was very appealing from the start, this vision of this giant structure, this mega structure that's the whole world, really. And the stories that come to mind immediately when you think of a place like that, there's abundance of that.
That's cool. Wow. Okay, we're nearing the end of our time with y'all, so I'm going to get one more question in from chat, which I think is a good design question. Before we go, and we let this question play us out, where can they, if they have more questions about this game, where can they ask them? Where should they ask them?
Oh, totally our Discord channel. I mean, it's right now very popular, but you should join it, of course.
Right on. Okay, for our part, we are Game Developers Conference. We are a place where people who make games get together and talk about making games. If you'd like to hear more from us, our Facebook and Twitter info is at the bullet bottom. If you want to see more streams from more cool game developers, just hit the follow button on this channel. For our part, if you yourself are a game developer, like say these folks from Stardust Dev Zero, who I kind of want to get their question into, so we'll see if we can squeeze it in. You might be interested in our masterclasses. That is a new thing we're trying out this December. It's really cool. You can take a class, have some one-on-one time with great instructors like Jonah Loeb, who's a character artist who worked on games like Skyrim and Fallout. You can get narrative tips from people like Susan O'Connor. So that's kind of we're just gonna leave this menu up for the last part of our stream, if it would. Yeah, there we go. Oh, nope, did it again. Okay. Here, we'll just leave the menu right there. So we're going to get 2 more questions in. Like I said, if you want to check out this masterclasses, you can check those out on our website. For Janice SG would like to know, what was the decision behind removing the dash ability from the Cyber Void level, which you just saw a couple seconds ago when I was in Cyber Void?
Yeah. The question is quite good because we decided that we don't want to give people as players as much speedrunning mechanics there because we wanted them to chill out a little bit on that sections where you can listen to the story, when you can think about it a little bit. It's mainly the pacing reason. I think that's why we delete this dash ability, and also wall running is not present in Cyber Void levels. So that's the first thing. I think the second thing is that we wanted to keep it consistent, because we've got many types of VR levels. VR, sorry, that's our code name for it. But for Cyber Void levels in our game, and you are doing many different things over there during the gameplay, and we wanted to keep it consistent, that you are not able to dash and you are not able to wall run over there. So I think that's the main two reasons. I don't know if Martin, if you want to add something.
Yeah, basically you got the point straight. So that's the way it was designed, to chill out the player and make it a bit different. So the play style of the Cyber Void is not the same.
Yeah. So it's not so rushed, that you don't have to be in such a hurry as in normal gameplay. Yeah.
Chat seems to agree with you, and I like I said, I've gotten to see a bit more of Cyber Void, so I think the reasons will become even more clear once they play the game. But I can't talk about that because there's an embargo. Anyway, okay, so we're going to close out on a question from Stardust Dev Zero. They seem to be a newer game developer. They would like to say that they're making a 2D puzzle platformer, and they've never designed a full level before. What do they do, and how do they tell when that level is fun? What's your guys' advice for Stardust?
Just give it to your friend and watch them playing. That's our main, I think, advice, right, Martin? This is what we are doing since the very beginning.
So basically, my advice, and as Roderick said, the main thing is to give it to somebody who doesn't know the game and actually is not an expert, and see what they do. If they do and go where you want them to go, and they are having fun, you can see it. They will say you things, but you don't have to talk to them to know this. You see what hands they are using, what way they go, what do they listen to.
Watch their emotions.
What's the emotion? Think about the player movement. The level is good when those things click in, and one thing comes from the other. So when you show the dash, then you use the dash in a different context. So one thing comes from the other, and the pacing. So there's not too much stuff and too convoluted, or too much action. Basically play-test it, and then tweak it, and then play-test it more, and tweak it more.
Maybe it's basic advice, but I don't know if it's that common that you should start testing your game on something who is not involved into the development, like from very early days of development. That's our main advice. We were in like a 6 months in the development, and we had like first open playtest, I think. Yeah, this is something like that, because we were starting at the beginning of the year, and on August we have like a demo on Gamescom, so pretty fast.
Oh wow! Congrats.
Also, if I may add one thing, don't be like attached to your design ideas. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, try something new. It's.
Also, something you might watch for is to not try to make levels look good at the design stage, because you probably will have to scrap everything and start from the beginning.
Just some white boxes are fine, right?
You don't need graphics or anything. You can playtest like pretty immediately.
If it's fun without the graphic,
good.
without the art, it is good. Yeah.
Right on. Well, folks in chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Tron Volta, Janus SG, Meta Live. It's been great hanging out with you. The game is Ghostrunner. It's out on the 27th. That's correct, right? 27th? Sweet.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a neat game, and like I said, I hope that some of you join us in the future when we check out other neat games here on the GDC Twitch channel with the people who make them. That's always what it comes back to at GDC is it's the people who make games. We want to give you the opportunity to hear from them. With that, have a good day, everyone. For y'all in Poland, have a good night. Thank you for joining us so late. And
Thank you.
that'll be it. Bye, everyone.
Bye.